Exactly. If there's any goal that a person should have when they get to around 40, it's make sure your body doesn't hate you. That is a worthwhile goal, and good luck with it, by the way. So,
you know what else is a worthwhile goal?
What's that?
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to Pixel It. My name is Kevin. With me, as always, is Phil. And today on the show, we are continuing with Halo Outcasts. I was about to say The Outsiders, but they're...
I mean, kinda.
There's no pony boy here.
No, stay golden, Master Chief.
Stay golden, Master Chief.
No pony boy. But yeah. So I've still got my. They sent us a nicely bound copy.
They sent us the store copy.
Yeah,
but I take still reading the ARC.
I take some pride in the the confidential nature of it. It is going to fall apart on me though. By the time I finish this, it's going to be like your copy of Shadowkeep.
Yes, which I don't know where it's gone, but I think it's disintegrated.
I was about to say it's part of the loam now. It is returned to the soil from whence it came.
It did its job. It got through a reading, and then it disintegrated, and
It disappeared like a boss in a video game.
Disappeared like a boss in a video game. Like most games where the bodies just vanish somehow.
Cleanup's easy.
Can you imagine if like in Uncharted there was like a moment where you were just presented with all the bodies, all the people, just like it's just some dream sequence,
right?
And it's just a pile of bodies, and Nathan Drake's like, "What is this?" And it's like, Nathan, this is all the people you've killed.
You're a genocidal maniac, Nathan. We're going to pretend you're an adventurer, but really you're a stone cold murderer.
You just murder the shit out of people.
Just murdering the shit out of people.
Yeah. Speaking of murdering, let's put the body in the marsh.
Oh, let's do it.
The body of the man found dead in the Fenway marshes yesterday afternoon is that of Timothy Delahunt.
All right. So, Chapter 9. Chapter 9. We're back with Vadim.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm reading it. Don't give me grief, people, because I am only reading it. I am not hearing it. I could probably look it up, but I won't.
Yeah. You people aren't a part of this. Don't. Are you reading this book? Kevin is. Fuck off. He's doing the big work.
Vadim Company are trying to stabilize themselves on the rocky ground that has suddenly started to rise up and down after the weapon fired. And he sees off in the distance that the Owl, which is the type of UNSC ship that flew by, is landing on the Tell in the distance. And he begins to negotiate with Petrov for her to guide them over there. Yeah. Petrov points out that the dropships were destroyed by the weapon, but Vadim's ships were not. Therefore, the Tell is occupied by Sangheili soldiers that were also marooned, like she was.
Yes.
Petrov were you trying to get your camera to focus on you?
It softened on me for a second. I just don't play that game.
Don't play that. Petrov describes the weapon as a claw that reaches out and strikes ships, and the first time she saw it, it happened to a ship that was there to rescue her. Mm-hmm. Vadim comes clean about the situation. The people landing are humans, and that they're going after the weapon just like he is. If it's the humans he thinks it is, he's fine with them having the weapon, but he would rather have it in Sangheili hands because,
And this is something they repeat constantly. Both sides. Yeah. They say, they're like, look, you're an ally, I guess. But we'd really prefer to have, and it's got this. It's very real in that sense, where it's like, I really don't know when we're gonna be back at war with you guys, and I'd prefer you not have that in your hands when that inevitably happens.
When we get back to it,
we all know that that's where this goes. So.
So Petrov mentions that there's been other attempts to breach the tell, but all the volunteers have gone missing. And she also accidentally mentions that her home world is Reach.
I'm sure that's not going to be an issue, though.
I'm sure that's not going to be an issue or come up ever in the case in the course of this book.
Let's not be silly.
Because the Arbiter is like, the
Arbiter's like, that's Reach. You call it Reach. Fuck.
Rachel.
Rachel.
A good planet. That's a good name for a planet.
I love Friends.
I never have I ever glassed a planet named Reach.
Leans over. It's casual. Wait. Did you just drink? No. I mean, yeah. That's the game. I can't lie to you.
I can't lie to you. He's a Sangheili. They don't lie.
No, they have far too much honor for that kind of shit.
Far too much honor for that kind of shit. But was this the same conversation where he gives her sightseeing tips for Earth?
Oh yeah, that's right. So he changes the subject. Well, we'll get you back to Earth. We're going to get you back to Earth. Toot sweet. We're
going to get you back to Earth, which is your real home planet. We're going to get you to Earth.
And if you eat the real, John's Pizza Joint is the one on 7th, and that's what you want to go with. And
Kilimanjaro is breathtaking.
He literally says you're really gonna want to see Kilimanjaro. And she goes, Are you giving me sightseeing advice for my own planet? He's like, yeah, it's weird. I know. What can I say?
Oh gosh. I was a big fan of that city where they put the spaghetti and the beans together, or the chili together.
It was just you didn't think it would be good, but it was. They really shave the cheese so finely. The people are ugly as shit, but otherwise it's a pretty cool place.
Wow.
I don't know why it came down so hard on Ohio.
Ohio slander.
I think it's just because it's easy. Just an easy target. Just
Phil has spent enough time in Western Pennsylvania, I guess, to develop strong feelings about Ohio.
Yeah. I'm enough of a Pittsburgher to be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck the rest of the Rust Belt. No, fuck you.
Petrov agrees to help him get over there to the tell using one of the runners that they saw earlier. Also, she reveals that she had the upper hand the entire time because there's a bunch of soldiers hidden in the cave behind them that the Sangheili didn't notice.
Of course. Great. This is going to be a really fun, long weekend. Great. Terrific.
She's like, all right, stand down. And then, like, all these other people just, like, appear.
Yeah. They pull a Predator, and they're just like, boop, boop, boop. Jesus.
Chapter 10, over on the tell. Go tell Mama on the mountain or something. It's got, I don't know, some sort of West Virginia song. It sounds like
it's got that vibe, right?
It's got that vibe.
Yeah.
The owl on the tell. The owl on. Okay. So the owl drops the survivors off, which is Vale, 2 civilians. So Keely and Rosa, and 2 squads, the 2 remaining squads of ODSTs, led by Mama Grimbear. So I take it from her name that she's Native American.
Yeah, they never come out and say that, do they? Though
No, but that her mom was her mother's name was something something bear, or something like that. And then the owl flies off and lands somewhere safe. Fuertes has an emotional reaction to seeing the dust of Netherop again. Meanwhile, two of the ODSTs, they're out and they're scouting. Two of the ODSTs return from their scouting mission to find an entrance a little bit early. And the one who makes the report, Golly, mentions that there's no passing through because the ground is like gagoog.
yes, gagoog,
which is like a jelly-like dessert. And you had to pull their mongoose out of it. And I guess the mongooses, they're like the ATV or mongoose.
Yeah, something like that. Mongooses?
Mongoose Halo. It's just an ATV.
Yeah.
He had to pull the mongoose out of it. I like the fact that they talk about Golly being even bigger than Spartan Vale.
Yes.
Like, he's just a regular person. He just happens to be a giant.
I love it because it's like they really haven't given us much information about Golly. They just keep re-emphasizing how big he is. But my brain canon for him has built up to the point that he is my favorite character in the Halo universe. Only rivaled by Yayap.
And
we don't know anything about him, but to me, he's the ultimate barbarian himbo, just like big and dumb and sweet and earnest. And I have nothing to support that. He said maybe 3 sentences.
He said three things in this book so far.
Yeah, but when he is inevitably murdered, I am going to be really bummed out because there's no way he's getting out of this alive. There's just no way.
No.
Yeah.
I think I only think the only person who gets out of this alive is going to be like Vale, the Spartan.
Right. Yeah.
So Golly, and I like the way that Olympia puts it together. She's like, Golly, what? And she doesn't ask any questions. Like, Golly, well, he's huge. I guess it could be short for Goliath. And
right.
She never confirms that. She just goes with that as the answer in her head.
Yep. I love it because it to me, when you've got, again, this is my headcanon. Like, I just like, you got a big, dumb himbo of a guy. It's like, shucks, Golly. Like, he's just this.
Golly.
Yeah, he's just this Leave It to Beaver, goofy kind of motherfucker. Like, that's where my brain goes immediately. So Golly, gee whiz, shucks. That's where my head went.
The ODST pair is Golly and Legs.
Right, yeah. And Legs. God, I'm sorry, Legs. I didn't mean to forget about you. It's just Golly is so
She doesn't say that. She doesn't say a whole lot other than, Golly's protective of her.
Right. There's a story there.
Yeah. So Vale mentions that they'll look around on foot and to bring some C12. And then Keely freaks out. She has a huge tantrum about, she's like, I knew I shouldn't have trusted a peer who's just going to destroy the evidence or something like that. And Olympia's like, what are you talking about? And Keely's like, you would have been a xenoarchaeologist if you hadn't been in the Spartan program. And she's like, what does that have to do with anything right now?
It's just crazy. Like, the paranoia, it gets so real. Just like, you would have been, you're my competition. It's like, whoa. What are we doing?
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
I don't think Vale sees herself as competition anymore.
No, I think she's got bigger fish to fry.
Fuertes pipes up at this point and mentions that the cities that under the towel are most likely built upside down, and that it's despite having so they have a little discussion about like technology tiers, and tier 0 being the highest, and they, despite having tier 0 tech, they behave like a tier 6 or 5 society. So, like, they're like, we've seen mining, like, underground cities before, but it was never a civilization with this advanced technology would have underground cities.
Yeah.
So
it does get a little Ancient Aliens there, doesn't it?
Yeah. Aliens.
Aliens.
They get how do move Big Rock?
Yeah.
And inside the tell, we get some story from the perspective of the Sangheilis who are occupying it, and they are religious zealots. The leader
Shock me.
Yeah, the leader is Tam Lakosi. We get some background on the abilities of the tell, like being able to form food instantly. And also it gives them visions of the world outside with 3D models. Mm-hmm. There's confirmation that they can actually see the Sangheili ships up in orbit from their models, but that they can't attack what they can't see. So stealth is effective in hiding from using the claw weapon. Mm-hmm. Back on the surface, Vale is digging, and she finds a shaft. As she examines that it's running back towards the landing zone, and she orders everyone to fall back, but it's too late, and Rosa is pulled underground. And when Vale gets to the spot, it collapses under the weight of her Mjolnir armor, and her and Keely fall down into the hole. In the hole, Vale and company get into a fight with the Sangheili that are down there, and they're wearing some sort of armor that, the bullets and stuff, it's just not piercing.
Yeah.
Vale is at the same time is trying to convince them that the war is over, and she's like, Vale snaps off a spinning heel kick, and in between every time she kicks one in the face, she's like, the war is over, stop it.
The war's over. War's over.
Golly and Legs get pulled under by the dust. Vale is able to save Golly, but can't get to Legs, who is now missing in action. Mm-hmm. And Golly is not happy about that.
Not happy about it. I'm telling you, I think they hooked up one drunken night, and Legs is not really all that into Golly, but Golly cannot take the hint. I really think that's what we're talking about here.
I agree. I agree. Chapter 11. Vadam and company are making their way to the tell on the Sand Runners, and he is uncomfortable with them because it's just these platforms with legs and things are shaking about. And up ahead, they see some smoke from explosives, and the Oath Warden wants to fire on the humans and start fighting them right away. This is a running theme with the Oath Warden.
Yes.
Petrov offers to negotiate between the UNSC and them. Again, the Oath Warden attempts to grab a weapon and shoot Vale, and Vadam stops him. Vadam and Vale meet and discuss what's been going on. They tell Petrov about Cortana and all that. Petrov at one point tries to give orders to Spartan Vale, who's like, and she's like, I don't report to you.
Yeah, that's not how any of this works. Like,
it's not how this works anymore. She's like,
does Petrov have like the greatest, biggest balls of any character in Halo, or is it just my imagination? Like
her literal commanding force is her children and the force her unit is her children and grandchildren.
She bred herself some soldiers. It is about as insane as it gets. Like there's something so fucked about that.
Too hard about the gene pool.
No.
Don't
War
think
is
about
hell.
War is hell, and sometimes you need soldiers.
War is hell, and sometimes you gotta fuck your aunt, and that's so you can get some more grunts.
I was thinking about this, and maybe we can ask Troy Denning.
Yes.
If that's going to be an appropriate question for him. How many people are there that aren't related to Petrov.
We just want to, because we've counted 3 generations.
3 generations.
And I feel like you're running out of people. You'd run out of people pretty quick. So look, I know these are not meant to be people that we're comfortable with all the time. But how grossed out should I be?
How grossed out should I be on on a scale of 1 to 10? How incesty is this?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. On a scale of stepbrother porn to oops, it's my mom, where are we? Where
are we?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, Olympia is like the Spartan program. Is its own branch of the military, and therefore I don't report to you. And Petrov's like, well, I'm a lieutenant commander, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Adam and Vale continue talking before they even make a deal on who is going in first, much to the chagrin of Petrov. They're just like spilling secrets to each other, and Petrov's like, I just want to remind you that you two have not agreed on anything.
Yeah,
In the end, they agree that Sangheili are going to enter first and try to broker a peace, but otherwise, the rules of the game are finders keepers.
It literally is. That is. Look, I've done this before. I want you people to know, Kevin is literally quoting the book. That the terms are, quote, finders keepers, end quote. I love this detail so much. I love it.
Chapter 12, Adam and his team enter the hole that had swallowed Fuertes. As they walk, their sensor hints that the group that has the human is not far ahead, waiting to ambush them. The other Kaidans on the way there disagree with what has transpired so far in letting the Spartan and the ODSTs look for the device as well. And they put it together that the group ahead is not waiting in ambush, they are just out of shape.
Yeah. Yet another detail I adore.
Because they can get food instantly. They're filled with food, and there's even one of them, one of the higher ups is like, they're like, he's thick of the waist.
Yeah.
You're like, I know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not saying it's a personal thing. I happen to know what you mean.
Fleshy mandibles.
Yes.
Like,
all right, jowls. Got it.
He's got the Sangheili quadruple chin, as it were.
The classic Sangheili.
Yeah. When they get to the group, they exchange words. Again, it's like, hey, the war is over. No, it's not. You're a traitor. You're blah, blah, blah. It's like they're back and forth, back and forth. The Zealots are not budging on this war is over issue.
No, they're like the humans at least are like, they didn't believe him at first, but they like came around. But the Sangheili are like, I mean, well, it makes sense though when you're dealing with like people who are just at war versus actual religious zealots. I mean, this is all probably how it would go down.
Right.
So yeah, it makes sense.
Because before the war ended, being the arbiter was a mark of shame.
Yes, and he makes the mistake of mentioning that he's an arbiter.
And they're like, "Oh, why would we talk to a lowly arbiter?"
Yeah.
And he tries and fails to convince them that the war is over and being fought over a great lie, and that the hierarchy has been destroyed, and that they need the weapon that's in the Citadel. The Zealots, however, believe that the gods have entrusted them with it. So
sure.
that's the level that they're arguing with.
Yeah.
And Vadim is like, I don't know where to go with the conversation.
It's true, because he doesn't want to just come straight out and go, we're just going to have to massacre these people because this ain't working out. But that's where the wind is blowing. Like,
he's basically, I just imagine him making Larry David face.
Yeah.
The entire.
Yeah. It's gonna be he doesn't want to just come out and say it, but he knows he's gonna have to kill these people. So
bum bum bum. Ba-da, 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 ba-da. Then the Oath Warden, he just doesn't help at all whenever he starts talking.
No.
He's like, oh, yes, and it's a human AI that we're fighting against. They're like, you would let the blah, blah, blah. And then, even worse, is Varodai speaks, the female Kainon.
Oh, boy.
And that really sets them off.
That does not help matters.
So one of the zealots, Kavarasi, tries to kill her by opening a pit at her feet, but Vadam is able to hold on to her waist, and Kavarasi and his warriors disappear down some tunnels.
Yes.
They were like, first an Arbiter, and then an Oath Warden, and then you're telling me you got female kite? Like, that's a bridge too far.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I am sorry. And they do not speak to me like that. No, they don't.
Yeah, it's funny, though, that the party that he has, that Vadam has, is basically the worst group that could have gone to speak to a bunch of religious zealots.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't know if they had anything to think through, to be fair, but yeah, this is just like absolutely the worst people you could have brought. Yeah.
So, chapter 13. The UNSC finds a ventilation shaft for the Tell on the top side. They begin examining the dust that is forming around everything. So one of the things I kind of glossed over is there's just dust everywhere.
Yeah.
And in chapter 12, when Vadam is talking to the zealots, it keeps the dust keeps like sticking to his goggles. No matter how much he tries to wipe it away, it keeps like covering up his goggles so that he can't see. The dust is either micro or nanotechnology.
Yeah.
Basically, it's controllable. Like the zealots down below have some sort of control over how the dust is like shaping and moving around the Tell. Mm-hmm. So they push this dust out of the way to open up this ventilation shaft, and they breach the grate. And Petrov and Grimbear's second squad. Petrov will be with Grimbear's second squad and will remain topside, while Grimbear's first squad and Vale will go down with Keely to begin investigating. They make their way down, but there's some complications. It's like a little tense moment with like fast rappelling and body rappelling and stuff like that. And the dust begins to like form back over the ventilation shaft. But they're able to all get down. And Olympia finds a wall where there's like water trickling through. Mm-hmm. And she realizes, hey, we might have found our way into the Tell, the Tell. Yeah. Chapter 14. Vadam and crew are following the group. During their first confrontation, the Oath Warden somehow put a tracking chip on Rosa at some point, and he's like, I'm not going to reveal my secrets and how I do things.
Yeah. I love the way he puts it too, because he says when did you were never close to her, how did you put a tracker on her? And he just goes like, yeah, I know, I wouldn't have wanted to have been, that wouldn't have made sense. Nope. It's like it's a very well played, sir.
Well played, Oath Warden. And he's like, how does all that work? And the Oath Warden's like, well, if you were interested in apprenticing to be an Oath Warden,
yeah,
you could. And Vadam is like, no,
I think I'd rather die than be your apprentice. Absolutely not.
And Vadam is still trying to pry from the Oath Warden who his client is.
Yes,
they get to like a split off point, and Vadam sends Varodai and her rangers to scout out the other tunnels just in case it's some sort of ambush. Talit, however, doesn't seem to want to take point with Vadam, so Vadam's like, all right, fine, you're in the back with your guys to like take up the rear. They encounter the zealots again, and Vadam falls his persuasion checks again. And the Oath Warden decides to use a gas weapon, a gas grenade, to try to knock everyone out. But the Zealots also have some sort of armor that can block the gases. And there's a fight. Vadam has a sword fight with a sword master, Raashi. He's the one who they say got a little fat.
Got a little fat.
And they go back and forth, and Vadam bests him and would have killed him, except there's an explosion, which is probably the breach charge from the previous chapter. And he's like Raashi's like, okay, so you bested me. I'm gonna help you. You know, I'm gonna turn on the people.
Which you could kind of tell he was already sort of planning on doing anyway. Like,
right.
He seems extra susceptible to flattery when we first meet him, and
right,
yeah,
and then he's like, you know, let me join you up, and then it's a triple cross.
Yeah,
because there's a warning on Vadam's armor that there's a leak in his suit that had been sealed, and he's like, what did you do? And Raashi's like, well, it's not me, it was your Oath Warden's idea. And with that,
the guy I've been suspecting of betrayal this entire time betrayed me. No.
Vadam loses consciousness at the end of the chapter. And I guess we'll get back to him in the next episode at some point, because I tell you, he's not in the next two chapters.
He is not. We do not know what the hell's going on yet.
One of the main characters missing.
MIA, my friends.
Meanwhile, on the Hammer of Fate.
Oh yeah, the Hammer of Fate. I'd forgotten almost entirely about the Hammer of Fate.
I'm like, I understand why this chapter needs to be here and why we are cutting back to these characters, but I also don't like any of them, and I don't like. I found myself kind of like, okay, like let's get back to the action on the ground.
It's
please.
The least interesting part of the whole thing. You're right. They are like, yeah, they are very kind of. Bleh. Yeah, bleh. Unlikable and just like
they're
a
not
little
doing
unnecessary.
Anything. They're not doing anything except watching.
Right, right.
Which continues. They recap what has happened from their point of view up to this point from the last time we saw them. But with the addition of the fact that there's Harriers in the system now, which are ships from Cortana's fleet that are observing everything that's happening as well. And basically they figure out that once everything starts, whatever it is, whatever starts means, when conflict starts, it's only going to take 4 units, which I'm assuming is like hours.
Yeah, that's what I've been going with in my head. Yeah, units. Yeah. Sure.
It's only going to take 4 units or hours for everything to unfold and for Cortana's fleet to arrive.
Right.
They're like, okay, so if it's Harrier, it's using Forerunner slip space, which means it's gonna be gone. It's gonna get help. It's gonna come back, and once shit starts going down, we got a 4-hour time limit.
Right.
Before Cortana's here. So I understand it. They're needed out there to like set the stakes a little, reset the stakes of like Cortana. But yeah. I'm just like,
yeah, I agree. It's like, it's fine. I get what they're there for, but we're really going to need to up the ante on them a little bit, I think, for them to be really effective.
Right, I agree. Chapter 16, and this chapter is from Rosa's point of view. She is somewhere inside the Citadel. I believe in the last confrontation in chapter 14, she got pulled under. She's somewhere inside the Citadel, but she's like, do I exist? Have I ever existed?
She does. She has an existential meltdown.
Did I exist and then stop existing? Or was there never any existence at all? Or am I a thought in somebody's head? Did I only exist as a thought in somebody else's brain?
Right.
And she's having this full page and a half existential meltdown because she is nowhere. And because she's nowhere, these beings appear, and they are called nothing. And I want to bring it back a few chapters. There was a discussion earlier on between the people, the Sangheili that live in the Tell, about their state of readiness and how everybody is kind of like slacking off and whatever, and that at one point some of the people who went, some of the humans who got down there jumped into a slip space portal that opens when they use the weapon. They jumped into the slip space portal, and then they became ghosts that haunted them for like 2 years or something like that. And I just wonder if they are related, if this thing is related to that thing.
It has to be, right? Like,
it has to be, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's given an option by nothing to exist or to cease to exist. And she chooses to exist. Yeah. And as soon as she does that, she basically wakes up and she is in the dust, like surrounding her on all sides. Mm-hmm. And she crawls out of the dust and she's in a hallway, and she realizes that she feels healthier than she has in years, and the prion disease the symptoms of the prion disease are gone.
Yeah.
And then suddenly when she's imagining fruit, she's able to, like, a fruit grows. And then when she wants water, a spring forms. And she's walking down this hallway, and she finds, in sticking out of the dust, what looks like an ODST helmet. And she grabs and pulls and pulls and pulls. And eventually she pulls out Legs, who is alive and is surprised that Rosa is alive. And Rosa's like, "You're alive, apparently." And so am I. Perhaps.
So are you, and so are we.
But they're Rosa is like very uncertain, as if it's like, am I alive?
Right. And it's interesting because they had when they have this big discussion earlier in this section when they're talking about the dust and nanotechnology and microtechnology and whether or not this is what it is, and they basically have this big discussion about how technology, the whole chestnut of like high-end technology being indistinguishable from magic, and
exactly.
And they talk about how, like, with certain, like, and they're talking about some sort of nanotechnology would be able to read your mind, and it would just need to get into your head and read adrenaline jumps and fear and stuff like that, and it could give you what you wanted. And that's kind of what's happening with her right now, with ever since she agreed to exist.
Right.
So it's interesting. I have to wonder if this is where, if she's gonna, because she's totally healthy now. So maybe she's the only one who, ironically enough, lives in the end, because she seems fine now.
She seems fine now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some weird, if the first part that we read was like espionage, spy thriller, what would you say is your summary of the second third that we've read?
This is like getting into Enemy Mine, Departed kind of shit, actually, because it's like, who can you trust and who's on what side, and with a nice big flashbang of abandoned Japanese soldiers in the bush from World War II thrown in for good measure. But then also some random hard sci-fi.
Real hard sci-fi, like it's like Dune level shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're getting to the religious extremism and it's a very this is a complex book. They're going a lot of he's going a lot of places with this, and I'm very impressed.
There's a lot of stuff. And honestly, my only criticism so far is the people on the Hammer of Fate.
Which he's still got time to like redeem this choice.
Redeem those guys. And they're honestly not that big a part of the book. It's just those scenes just feel a little.
It's just kind of like, all right, well, I want to get back to where we were, which honestly is the sign of a good writer because he's making us crave it. So, well done, Mr. Denning. All right, fair enough.
Yeah. I do have a question for you, though, Phil.
Okay.
Ooh, what are you playing?
Oh, what am I playing? I did go through a brief moment. After I finished, I mentioned last episode that I finished Alien Dark Descent for the second time. And I was left with that post-game finish hangover, where nothing else seemed to scratch the itch that I'd been getting scratched for a solid 50 hours. So I downloaded Dawn of War Dark Crusade, actually, which is one of the expansions to the original Dawn of War that I never played. And it's got it's interesting. It's got kind of this campaign thing to it where you've got I think it's 5 or 6 different factions, and you've got the big planet and all the regions, and part of it is you're trying to take over. It's Risk, you're taking over your regions, and every time you go into the different area, you play a game of Dawn of War basically to take it over. And I really enjoyed it. It was exactly what I needed. I didn't finish it, but I got a good handful of hours in there. And really enjoyed it, and it really did give me just that one last little dose of strategy that I needed from another franchise that I can trust. But after that, I've been playing this remake, not remake, but just a reskin of Dragon Warrior, the original Square Dragon Warrior on my Switch.
The Enix.
Enix, not Square. But they gave it a new coat of paint. Otherwise, it's kind of an identical game. I'm almost done with it. I'm enjoying it on the same level that I enjoyed playing the original Final Fantasy again. But I am starting to realize, because I played and beat Dragon Warrior a million years ago when I was young. But I'm starting to, we've talked about how Simon's Quest is a game that, I enjoy Simon's Quest, but people give it so much shit because it's so esoteric, and the localization really meant that it was hard to follow.
Yeah, hard to parse.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, I get it, I understand, but this is my little trip, and leave me alone. I love this game. I'm starting to understand their point of view playing Dragon Warrior. Because it is so obtuse, the shit you have to do back and forth and go to this thing and find this thing, and it is not games have come a long way, and so I'm starting to understand the frustration, but it's been very enjoyable to be able to just sit and grind and build up my levels and stuff while we're watching a movie or something. So I've been enjoying that. That's basically what my Switch exists for now. I just find the grindiest games that I can and play them while me and my wife are watching a movie or something. But I think the big one, the one that's taken the most of my time since we talked last, is I went ahead and downloaded and started playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I love it. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's funny because the comparison I kept hearing from people that kind of kept me away from it for a while was to Dark Souls. And I see the comparison. I totally see the comparison. We even talked about earlier in the episode. We talked about I don't even know if it was on the episode or maybe we were just chatting. We were talking about the different with Dark Souls, with Souls-likes, you unlock the shortcuts, and that's how you slowly make the world more accessible and everything like that. And there's that. There is a lot of parrying, and the fighting is a little more complicated than just going in there and swinging. But I think if I had to compare this to any currently existing franchise, it would be the Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider games. It's very Tomb Raider-y. This is very exploring oriented. The puzzles are very similar. I'm enjoying, and much like the Crystal Dynamics Tomb Raider games, I have to pause every 20 minutes or so to go, well, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in a video game. I got to Kajik for the first time, and one of the things you have to do is you have to like sneak onto a walker, and it's covered in moss, and they're wading through this swampy terrain. You have to climb up the side, and it's gorgeous. It's so stupidly beautiful, and it's one of those things that's the level of spectacle that you think about, Shadow of the Colossus and stuff like that, where it's like this is why you put money into video games.
Right.
This is what it's for. So I think I'm like a quarter of the way through it, maybe a third of the way through. I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's judging by so I just went and checked the on Steam. You're 7.5 hours in, looks like.
Give or take.
Okay, yeah, you're probably about halfway through.
Okay, great. I'm not gonna. I started to do what I always do, where I started to go, well, let's explore all the maps and get 100%.
Yeah, I mean, you can spend a lot more time in the game.
Yeah,
I did pretty much bare minimum and came out at 15 hours.
I think I resisted the urge. Occasionally I get lost and end up just going, well, as long as I'm here, I can wall run now, so I might as well unlock that thing.
Right.
But I'm really enjoying it. I think it's fun to play. The storyline's pretty solid. I haven't heard many good things about the sequel that came out this year, which is a real shame.
Yeah, it had a lot of issues with the PC port, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's a shame. Because it's a terrific, fun game. So that's what I've been up to. Kevin, what are you playing?
Okay, so I 2 games mostly this past week. We're recording this the week that the day that Baldur's Gate 3 officially was released.
Oh yeah.
So what I've been playing while waiting for that, because I had beaten the new games that I wanted to play, I had pretty much beaten up until this point. So I'm just like, all right, I'm just waiting for Baldur's Gate 3 then. Right. So 2 games I've been playing. One is Doom Eternal, which I beat like 90% of when it came out. I want to say I played it on the PS5 or something like that. Not the PS5, maybe the PS5. I can't remember what I played it on. Anyway, I had beaten 90% of it. I was like, all right, well, finally, I have it on Steam. I might as well install it and just try to beat it. And I'm like, I'm further than I was than last time. I'm just about to go off and face off against the Icon of Sin, which I believe is the last-ish boss. In that it's close to the end. So I've been playing a lot of Doom Eternal, which is fun. There's something about Doom Eternal that just doesn't, I don't know. It's not totally hitting all the dopamine buttons that I want it to hit. I feel like there's a lot of fun stuff with the idea of it's more of like a resource management shooter, because there's almost no way to really avoid getting hit.
No,
right?
Absolutely.
So you have to constantly be replenishing your health, replenishing your armor, and replenishing your ammo. And the way you do that, you set somebody on fire to get them to drop armor, you glory kill for health, and you chainsaw for ammo.
Yep.
And rinse and repeat, right? And all the demons have their own special ways of killing them. But I don't know, something about it feels almost repetitive by the time you get towards the end, where it's like, all right, well, I'm doing this big battle. All right. Big battle. All right. big battle. It's like, oh man, I would love it if just the second half of this level was just platforming. I could go for just platforming.
I'd love for just a little shake up of I get that.
I mean, I'm not asking for neon white or anything here, but
right.
Just a little something. Anyway, I'm almost done with that. And I've been playing this little game called Halls of Torment.
Oh, okay.
So it is an early access game. It is a Vampire Survivors like game.
Okay.
With the art style of Diablo.
Oh yeah, look at that. Okay.
So it's interesting. I've somehow already put 7 hours into the game.
Those games get away from you so fast.
And it's one of those games, I don't play it sitting at my computer. I play it on my Steam Deck.
Sure.
Like at night, we'll just be watching TV and on my Steam Deck, and I'm just, walking around with my little warrior dude bashing skeletons.
That's crazy. That looks terrific. Yeah, that looks fun.
It's fun. It's not as good as Vampire Survivors in terms of like really triggering that casino mindset.
Oh yeah. No, I don't know if anyone's ever gonna hit that. Oh, I'm a winner, baby. Yeah.
But it's fun. It's a fun little game. I mean, it's fun enough for me to have spent 7 hours playing it mindlessly while we watch TV.
Yeah, fair enough.
While 7 hours, it's basically while we watch Twisted Metal.
Yeah. How are you enjoying Twisted Metal?
So it's one of those things where I like it. It got like middling reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. Pretty high audience score, but who cares about audience score? I like it because it's really stupid. And it's as appropriately stupid as the game itself.
Well, it would have to be. It's Twisted Metal.
It matches. The thing I'll give it to it as an adaptation is it matches the energy of Twisted Metal in a very good way. You got Sweet Tooth, who is played by a combination of Samoa Joe.
Lovely.
The wrestler plays the body of Sweet Tooth, and Will Arnett is the voice of Sweet Tooth.
All right, I love that. Okay.
Anthony Mackie plays John Doe. Stephanie Beatrice plays she was a character called Quiet, who wasn't in the game, but she's the femme character who
she's the girl
main character. Yeah. And you got a lot of references to the game in the show. You got Stu and Mike, who I believe are the garbage truck drivers, are characters in the show. I think their car is a garbage truck.
Okay, yeah.
Agent Stone is one of the main bad guys. There's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool references.
That sounds fun.
And the cars, it's a stupid little show about, it's like a post-apocalyptic world and people are doing car combat. What do you really want from the show?
Yeah, come on. Bring it on.
Sweet Tooth kills a lot of people. The best moment in the show is Sweet Tooth breaks into the police, like basically Agent Stone has formed this like police organization to bring law to the wasteland. Mm-hmm. And Sweet Tooth breaks into their base and he breaks open the door and he stabs one of the cops in the chest. And while he's doing that, he yells, "Machete!" And he kills her with a machete.
Sure.
And then he picks her up and he hits two other cops with her body and he yells, "Woman's body!"
Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to see this.
Because he's just saying what he's killing people with.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, we might have to chalk that one up for bonus episodes or something. That's
yeah. Let's do that. Let's do some bonus episodes on Twisted Metal. I have no idea if it's gonna get a season 2, but the fact that season 1 exists,
it exists, and that's insane. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Gotta do that. All right.
Speaking of doing that, that'll do it.
Oh,
for tonight's episode.
It's that time.
Phil, if you do be so kind, tell people where on the internet is a good website for people to go to for us.
You know what I think people really should do? They should head on over to patreon.com/pixellitpod. That is where you can find all kinds of cool bonus materials. We're also just building a community there. We have tiers of different support that you can offer us, and certain bonus tiers get certain bonus episodes. Like as of the recording of this episode, we have released 3 episodes pertaining to the 1989 Legend of Zelda cartoon show and our commentary on the first few episodes. We got another one coming. But if you just want to come and hang out, that's also awesome. We have a free tier for you, and every now and then we pop in there and we share certain things. Like yesterday, one of the episodes that released was about Alan Wake, and we did we referenced one of our friends, Monty Zander, and his show Lore Dump, and the work that he did on Alan Wake and Remedy in general. And I thought it might be nice to just pop in there and go, hey, if you listened to the episode and you heard us talking about this, here it is. Go check it out and get some more Alan Wake goodness in your mouth. And everyone has access to that, and it's a way of showing off cool people. And so, yeah, there's bonuses, there's all kinds of stuff, and it's just a fun community to be a part of. Ripley, for Christ's sake.
Hi, Ripley. Yeah,
so head on over. Patreon.com/pixellitpod. Do it today.
Otherwise,
do it today.
Go ahead and find us on multiple social media sites.
Yes.
We got ourselves... we have a Threads account, but Threads kind of sucks. But, at PixelitPod on that and Instagram. We have a Blue Sky account now. We had PixelitPod on there. Its full thing is pixelitpod.bsky.com. Whatever, just search PixelitPod, it'll come up.
Yeah. Honestly, look for PixelitPod wherever. And if we're there, that's where we are. Yeah.
Yes. Wherever you go, there we are.
There we are.
Who am I quoting there?
That's Mr. Brady.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Wherever you go, there you are. At least that's where I heard it from.
That's, yeah. So social media, do it up. Go to our website, pixelitpod.com. You'll find links to our Discord there, and you can sign up for our newsletter. The newsletter gets you either following us on Patreon or subscribing for our newsletter. Both gets you early access to episodes if I get to post them a couple days earlier. So that's worthwhile. And also on the website, you can go to our Discord. If you have an extra moment, go ahead and rate us 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It would really help us out. But if you don't have an extra moment, don't do that then.
Don't bust your ass. You're good.
Yeah. What are you doing? You're busy. Go. Just go. Get out of here.
Go keep being busy.
And keep being busy.
Yeah. I get it.
Keep washing the dishes.
Yeah,
if our people who listen to you also listen to thing is any indication, you probably got an episode of like Behind the Bastards queued up next.
Yeah.
So
we're not here to fuck your life up. We just want you to listen. That's really what it comes down to. Just keep washing the dishes.
Keep washing the dishes. Never stop washing the dishes.
Never stop washing.
If you're already washing the dishes, continue washing the dishes.
Yep.
Wash the dishes early, wash the dishes often.
Often. It's good. It's good.
It's good.
It's good advice.
All right. Good night. Bye.
Good night.